Note that this manga was particularly pixelated when it first came through, so to offset that I went through the filter noise despeckle filter that is found in Photoshop. For other manga and black and white you might not need this as much, but I thought I'd throw it in there just so that you know. First off, you're going to want to create a layer underneath your image layer and cover the entire thing in a true white. This is so when you erase the speech bubbles and the other non-true whites on the page, then they appear white because of the layer underneath. After this, you're going to want to go to curves, select the slider and drag it some way between 70 and 90% of the way to the right. This is going to create a high contrast and allow you to see where the dirty whites are on the screen. Of this, the ones in the speech bubbles are the ones you're going to be erasing. Next, you're going to want to erase the text within the speech bubble so your typesetters can put the English translation into it. You're going to start by picking an eraser which is suitable for your needs, and just go and really close up to the lines, just start erasing the bubble. Notice how I toggle the curves layer on and off so I can check whether I've accidentally deleted any of the outside of the speech bubble. This is important because erasing too much can compromise the original look of the image. Repeat this step for all of the speech bubbles on the image and you've completed the first step of cleaning. Notice the text around the middle of the screen hasn't been deleted. This is because the specific scanlation group I'm with doesn't require one word or onomatopoeia to be deleted before typesetting. Other typesetters have different rules, so check up with your admins or your higher-ups before cleaning. The next part of cleaning is to remove the background of the image, which was the page before it was scanned, and to realign and redraw the borders. Now luckily for me, the right side of the image was actually very well aligned. It's the top, bottom, and the left side which weren't. Now the best way I've found to check whether things are in line or not is to use the line tool to create a thick black line to lay along the top, bottom, and edges of the screen. You then use the transform tool on the original image and rotate it until it is level with this black line. Now you're never ever going to get a perfectly flat and straight image if it's been scanned from a book or just on a page. So in this situation, you will have to crop off part of the outer layer and redraw the boundaries in order to make it look like it's square. Now this next part was particularly difficult because I wasn't sure where to crop from. Now the best way I've found to resolve this is to use them borders that we laid out earlier, and to just slowly move them inwards and inwards until you can no longer see the original image border. Once you can do this, you then select the magic tool, click on them black lines that you just set, move to your original image layer, and then press delete. This will create a fine white line which stops perfectly when there is no more border left, and then you can go and redraw it in later to get a clean border. The next part of cleaning is to remove the whites between images. Now, if you're lucky enough that your manga or whatever you're editing does not have these lines, then you can skip this step. But since the majority of them do, I thought I'd go through it. Largely similar to how the borders of the image were not in line due to how it was scanned, the lines between images can also have this effect. Now the way I like to do it is by using the select tool and getting rid of as much white as possible without going over the borders. I'll then go in later and edit it by hand to get rid of all the whites that I've missed. Now it's time to edit in and replace any borders that you didn't scan in well or you deleted during your original cleaning. The best way to do this is to find a part of the border that hasn't been stretched by the scanning and measure the pixel width that it is. Once you've done this, you can then create a border matching those measurements around the entire image. With that finished, you can now edit out parts of the border which weren't there during the original image. For me, this is where the slanted and the white lines meet. I then go back and clean any of the whites I missed between the slanted lines while I was originally deleting it. This is to prep for when we black out the slanted lines to make it look more like the rest of the border. After this, I then go about cleaning and making the slanted lines uniform around the border. This is done by using the polygon select tool to create straight lines from the bottom to top. I don't mind if it overlays the white now because it will just create uniform lines and no one will notice. Once this is done, you fill in the black and then go over and clean up any inconsistencies between the original border and your new border. Once this is done, you're practically finished. And here you have it, the fully completed chapter using all the techniques that I just showed you in this video. Now, I had to skip a lot of video and speed a lot of things up, but that was mainly because everything I'd showed you already was just repeated and repeated. Now, if you got stuck on anything or need help with cleaning a specific image, then leave a comment in the comments below. I didn't cover one thing in this video, and that was what to do if you had to remove a piece of text which was already over an image. Now this gets into redrawing territory and comes down to whether you're good at art or not, or good at copying images, but I will show you a simple trick to help you on things such as overlaying a sky if you've had to delete sky, or somewhat texturized color. But we'll cover that in the next episode, so if you want to see that, leave a like.